I found my wife's affair diary, where she rated her lovers. I was number 7 out of 8, so I became the one who got away. I found my wife's affair diary by complete accident, a leather-bound journal that fell from behind a stack of books in our home office. Inside, detailed accounts of 8 different affairs spanning our entire 7-year marriage, complete with ratings for each man like we were all products being reviewed on Amazon. I was ranked number 7 out of 8. Boring but reliable. Sexually 4/10, would never leave him but need excitement elsewhere. They read it. This is the story of how I discovered I wasn't my wife's husband. I was her safety net while she shopped for upgrades. I'm Daniel, 34 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will make you question whether the person sleeping next to you actually loves you or just tolerates you while looking for something better. You know that moment when your entire reality shatters because of something you weren't supposed to find, when you discover that the life you thought you were living was actually a carefully constructed lie. That's where this story goes. But let me start from the beginning. Because to understand how completely Lauren destroyed our marriage with a journal I was never meant to see, you need to understand what I thought we had and how naive I was about who she really was. I met Lauren 8 years ago. When I was 26 and she was 24, I was a first-year high school history teacher in Portland, making about $48,000 a year. Lauren had just gotten her first real job out of college, entry-level marketing coordinator at a tech company, making around $45,000. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party, bonded over shared interests in hiking and craft beer, started dating within a week. Lauren was ambitious, driven, charismatic. She talked constantly about climbing the corporate ladder, making a name for herself, building a successful career. I found her ambition attractive. I was content being a teacher, good benefits, summers off, meaningful work helping students understand history. But Lauren wanted more, wanted bigger, wanted to prove herself. The first year of dating was great. We'd go on weekend adventures, try new restaurants, spend evenings talking about our dreams and futures. Lauren would vent about her job frustrations, and I'd listen and support her. I'd talk about my challenging students, and she'd offer advice about handling difficult personalities. It felt like partnership. After a year of dating, Lauren got promoted to marketing specialist with a salary bump to $55,000. She was thrilled. Validation that her hard work was paying off. I was happy for her. A few months later, she moved into my apartment to save on rent while she paid off student loans. Living together was an adjustment. Lauren worked long hours, often until 7 or 8 p.m. She'd come home exhausted, eat whatever I'd cooked, then zone out watching TV or scrolling through her phone. Weekends, she'd often be on her laptop, working on projects or networking online. You work too much, I'd tell her. You need to disconnect some. This is what it takes to succeed, Dan. Not everyone can coast like teachers do. The comment stung. Coast like teaching wasn't real work. Like spending 50+ hours a week preparing lessons, grading papers. Dealing with students and parents and administration wasn't exhausting, but I let it go. Lauren was stressed. She didn't mean it. After 2 years of dating, I proposed. Simple proposal at Multnomah Falls, the place of our first date. She said yes immediately. We got married 6 months later in a modest ceremony, budget of $15,000, split between us and our parents. Nothing extravagant, just family and close friends celebrating our commitment. The first year of marriage was okay. Not great, but okay. Lauren continued working long hours, got promoted again to senior marketing specialist, salary jumping to $68,000. She traveled occasionally for conferences and client meetings. I continued teaching, got my salary up to $54,000 with my second year of experience. But I started noticing changes in Lauren. She'd come home from business trips different, energized in a way she never was after working from home. She'd be on her phone constantly, texting and smiling. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd say work stuff or just a colleague. She started going out more, networking events and industry happy hours that would go until 11 p.m. or midnight. She'd come home smelling like alcohol and cigarettes, makeup slightly smeared, dress wrinkled. When I'd comment on how late it was, she'd accuse me of being controlling. I'm building my career, Dan. This is part of it. You wouldn't understand because teaching doesn't require networking. Again, with the subtle digs at my profession, but I was too tired from my own workday to argue. Year 2 of marriage, Lauren got promoted to marketing manager. Salary jumped to $78,000. She was now making significantly more than me. She started making comments about it. We should upgrade to a nicer apartment. I can afford it now. We're doing fine here. Why pay more rent when we're trying to save? You mean you can't afford it? Can, but I have to subsidize your teacher's salary. We're married. There's no subsidizing. We pool our resources. My resources are significantly larger than yours, Dan. Maybe you should think about getting a second job or switching careers to something more lucrative. The resentment in her voice was clear. My career choice which she'd claimed to admire when we met, was now an embarrassment. I wasn't ambitious enough, didn't make enough money, wasn't impressive enough for her newly elevated professional status. Year 3 of marriage, the distance between us became undeniable. Lauren traveled 2 to 3 times per month for work, would be gone for days at a time. When she was home, she was always on her phone or laptop. We barely talked beyond logistics, who was cooking dinner, when bills were due, whose turn it was to clean the bathroom. Our sex life deteriorated. From 2 to 3 times per week, when we were dating, to maybe once every 2 weeks. Lauren always had excuses. Too tired from work, not in the mood, headache, stressed about a project. When we did have sex, she seemed distracted, going through the motions, checking mental boxes rather than actually being present. I suggested marriage counseling. I think we need help reconnecting. We feel like roommates, not spouses. We're fine, Dan. You're being dramatic. Marriage isn't all romance and passion. This is what adult relationships look like, people focused on their careers and responsibility. But we barely talk anymore. We don't spend quality time together. You're always working or traveling. Because I'm building a career. Because I have ambitions beyond babysitting teenagers and summers off. If you were more ambitious, maybe you'd understand. There it was. The truth beneath the polite facade. Lauren looked down on my career, saw me as less than because I chose teaching over higher paying fields. And she was resentful that her ambition meant carrying more financial weight in our marriage. Year 4. Lauren got promoted again. Marketing director. Salary, $88,000. She was now making over $30,000 more than me annually. The power dynamic in our marriage shifted completely. She started making unilateral decisions. I'm going to Chicago for a conference. Not we should discuss this trip, but a statement of fact. I bought a new car. Not let's look at cars together, but a done deal. I'm redecorating the living room. Not what style do you like? But her decision imposed. When I'd object to not being consulted, she'd say, I'm paying for it with my money. I don't need your permission. Technically true, we kept separate bank accounts and split shared expenses proportionally. But we were married. Major decisions were supposed to be joint. The fact that she no longer saw them that way was telling. Year 5, I started actively suspecting infidelity. Lauren would come home from business trips different. New lingerie in her suitcase that I'd never seen her wear at home. Hickeys she'd try to cover with makeup, claiming she'd bumped into something. Text messages she'd quickly close when I walked into the room. I checked her phone once when she was in the shower. Passcode protected. She'd never had a passcode before. When I asked about it, she said, everyone should protect their privacy. What? You don't trust me? Classic deflection. Turned my reasonable question into my trust issues. I checked our credit card statements. Charges from hotels on nights I knew she was supposedly staying with colleagues. Charges from restaurants she'd never mentioned. Charges from lingerie stores and expensive boutiques. When I asked about the charges, she'd have explanations. Client dinner. Work reimbursed it. Hotel was cheaper than splitting Airbnb with colleagues. Bought clothes for work events. It all plausible. All potentially true. But my gut said otherwise. Year 6. Lauren became distant to the point of coldness. We'd go days barely speaking beyond necessary logistics. She'd sleep on her side of the bed, back to me, as far from me as possible. She'd leave for work before I woke up, come home after I'd gone to bed. Weekends, she'd be catching up on work or meeting clients. Our anniversary came and went with barely acknowledgement. I bought her flowers and made a nice dinner. She said thanks distractedly and spent the evening on her laptop, finishing a presentation. I suggested we go on a vacation together. Just us. No work. Reconnect. I don't have time for a vacation, Dan. I'm up for VP of marketing. I need to focus. I need to focus on our marriage. We're falling apart. Maybe if you were more interesting, I'd want to spend time with you. Ever think of that? You're so boring, Dan. Same routine every day. Work, grade papers, watch TV, sleep. Where's the excitement, the adventure, the passion? Could say the same about you. You're never home. You're always working or traveling. When are you making time for us? Make time for what matters. My career matters. This marriage, I'm not so sure anymore. The words hung in the air. She wasn't sure about our marriage anymore. There's 6 years together, 2 years of marriage. She wasn't sure. Are you having an affair? I asked directly. Jesus Christ. Dan, is that what this is about? Your insecurity? No, I'm not having an affair. I'm working. But if you keep accusing me, maybe I should be. At least then your paranoia would be justified. Gaslighting at its finest. Make me feel crazy for suspecting what my gut knew was true. Year 7. This year Lauren got the promotion she'd been chasing. VP of marketing. Salary, $95,000 plus bonuses. She was now making more than 50% more than my $62,000 teacher salary. She started talking about our lifestyle mismatch. I'm at a level in my career where I need to present a certain image. Date nights at mid-tier restaurants don't cut it anymore. I need to be seen at upscale places with successful people. You saying I'm not successful? I'm saying you're a high school teacher making $62,000? That's fine for you? But it's not the circle I'm operating in anymore. We're married. My circle is your circle. That's the problem, Dan. I've outgrown your circle. And honestly, I think I've outgrown you. The cruelty was stunning. Outgrown me. Like I was a phase. A starter husband. Someone who'd been adequate. When she was making $45,000, but was now an embarrassment at her $95,000 level. 2 weeks ago, Lauren went on another business trip. 5 days in San Francisco for a marketing conference. She'd been gone for 3 days when I decided to clean our home office. We shared the space I graded papers there. She worked from home there. It had gotten cluttered with both of our things. I was reorganizing the bookshelf when I knocked over a stack of Lauren's marketing books. They tumbled to the floor. Behind where they'd been sitting, wedged between the shelf and the wall, was a leather-bound journal. Dark brown, expensive looking. It's the kind of journal people buy intending to use for something meaningful. Curious, I pulled it out, opened the cover. Inside, Lauren's handwriting. First entry dated 7 years ago. I should have stopped reading. Should have respected her privacy. But something told me this wasn't a normal journal. Call it instinct. Call it the accumulation of 7 years of suspicion. Whatever it was, I kept reading. What I found destroyed me. The journal was Lauren's affair diary. Detailed accounts of sexual encounters with different men throughout our entire marriage. Names, dates, descriptions, and most damaging dash ratings. Each entry had the same format: name, date, location, description of encounter, ratings, attractiveness, X10 sexual performance, X10 excitement level, X10 relationship potential, X10 overall. X10. I read through the entries in chronological order, each one feeling like a punch to the gut. Entry 1. 6 months into our marriage. Name, Marcus Thompson. Date, March 2019. Location, hotel during Chicago conference. Description, met at conference cocktail hour. Marketing director from another company. Tall, confident, flirted heavily. Ended up in his hotel room. Amazing sex. Way better than Dan. Lasted 3 rounds. It's made me feel desired in a way Dan never has. Ratings, attractiveness, 8/10 sexual performance, 9/10 excitement level, 10/10. The thrill of cheating was incredible. Relationship potential, 3/10 married with kids, not leaving his wife overall, 7. 5/10 notes. This was my first time cheating. Felt guilty for about 5 minutes, then got over it. Dawn is so boring in bed. Just missionary. Standard routine, no passion. Marcus reminded me what good sex feels like. Will definitely cheat again if opportunity arises. Dan will never know. He's too trusting. I felt sick. 6 months into our marriage, when I thought we were still in the honeymoon phase, Lauren had been fucking some guy at a conference and rating him like a restaurant review. I kept reading, hands shaking. Entry 2, year 2, name, Brad, whoever didn't get last name. Date, July 2019. Location, his apartment. Description, I met at networking event. Finance bro. Very fit, very cocky. Took me back to his place. Good sex, but too aggressive. Left marks. Don saw had to claim I bumped into something. Don believed it. He always believes me. Ratings, attractiveness, 7/10 sexual performance, 7/10 excitement level, 8/10 relationship potential, 2/10 douchebag personality. Overall, 6/10 notes, not as good as Marcus, but better than Dan. Dan's sexual rating, maybe 4/10 on a good day. Brad at least knew what he was doing. Don has no idea I'm sleeping with other men. He's too naive, too trusting, too boring. There it was. My sexual rating for my wife. 4/10, maybe. I turned pages, each entry worse than the last. By the time I reached the middle of the journal, Lauren had documented 6 different affairs. Each man rated, each encounter detailed, each notation including some comparison to me always unfavorable. Then I found the summary page. Near the back of the journal, Lauren had created a ranking table. 8 men listed in order of overall rating: rankings, and Marcus Thompson. Overall, 7. 5/10 Jason Reeves overall. 7/10 Tyler Bradford overall. 6.8. 10 Kevin Park overall. 6.5. 10 Brad Finance Guy overall. 6/10 Scott Mitchell overall. 5.5. 10 Daniel Hayes Husband overall. 5/10 Mike Something overall. 4/10 next to my name. Additional notes: Daniel safe. Stable. Boring as hell. Reliable income from teaching but not ambitious. No drive to be more than a high school teacher. Sexually. 4/10 knows basic mechanics but zero creativity or passion. Emotionally supportive but clingy. Wants too much quality time and attention. Financially, makes okay money but will never be wealthy. Will never leave him, he's my safety net while I explore better options. Good husband material but not exciting lover material. plan. Stay married for stability, continue affairs for excitement. I read those words over and over. Safety net. Boring as hell. Will never leave him. Stay married for stability, affairs for excitement. This was how my wife saw me, not as her partner, not as her lover, not as someone she valued or desired, as a safety net. A boring, sexually inadequate, financially modest safety net who provided stability while she fucked more exciting men and rated them like products in a catalog. 7 years of marriage. 7 years of me trying to be a good husband, supportive, faithful, present. 7 years of Lauren systematically cheating, documenting it, rating each man, planning to continue indefinitely while keeping me around as her stable backup. I was number 7 out of 8, only better than Mike something, who'd apparently been disappointing enough to rate lower than the boring husband. I sat in that office chair, holding that journal, feeling like my world had ended, because in a way, it had. The marriage I thought I had, the partnership I'd been fighting to save, had never really existed. It was a facade. Lauren's safety net while she shopped for upgrades. I photographed every single page of that journal, every entry, every rating, every cruel notation, every detailed description of her affairs. Took over 200 photos, backed them up to cloud storage, backed them up again to a flash drive I hid in my car. Then I put the journal back exactly where I'd found, wedged between the bookshelf and the wall, hidden behind the stack of marketing books. Lauren would never know I'd found it, would never know I knew, but I knew, and that knowledge changed everything. Lauren came home from San Francisco 3 days later, walked in the door, dropped her suitcase, barely acknowledged me. Was the conference? I asked, my voice steady, despite the rage and hurt churning inside me. Fine, exhausting. I need to shower and sleep. She walked past me toward our bedroom. I wondered if she'd fucked someone in San Francisco. If there would be a new entry in her journal soon. If I'd rank even lower once she had fresh comparison. That night, she slept on her side of the bed, back to me as usual. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about those journal entries, thinking about 7 years of lies. Thinking about how I'd been rated number 7 out of 8 by the woman who'd promised to love me forever by morning. I knew what I had to do. Lauren thought I was boring, thought I was predictable, thought I'd never leave because I was too nice, too trusting, stable. She was about to learn exactly how wrong she was about the boring #7 husband she'd kept around as her safety net. The Monday after I found Lauren's affair diary, I went to work like normal, taught my classes, graded papers, acted like everything was fine, but inside was planning, calculating, preparing for the most important strategic move of my life. During my lunch break, I called 3 divorce attorneys, left messages with all of them. By the end of the school day, 2 had called back. I scheduled consultations with both for later that week. That evening, Lauren came home at 7:30 p.m. as usual. I'd made dinner pasta her favorite. She acknowledged it, ate while scrolling through her phone, then retreated to the office to work. I wondered if she was updating her affair diary, if she'd met someone new in San Francisco, if my rating would drop even lower now that she had fresh comparisons. I didn't care anymore. The hurt had crystallized into cold, focused determination. Wednesday afternoon, I met with the first attorney, Robert Chen, highly recommended for handling complex divorces. I brought my laptop with all the photographed diary pages. "Hey, Mr. Hayes, what brings you in today?" Robert asked, professional and direct. "I want to divorce my wife. I found evidence she's been having affairs throughout our entire 7-year marriage. Multiple affairs. 8 men total. She documented everything in a journal, including ratings of each man's sexual performance compared to mine." Robert's eyebrows raised. She rated them. In writing, in detail. Names, dates, locations, descriptions, numerical ratings. I photographed every page. I turned my laptop toward him. He spent 20 minutes reading through the photos, his expression growing more serious with each entry. "Mr. Hayes, this is one of the most comprehensively documented cases of adultery I've seen. Your wife essentially created a written confession to serial infidelity. This is extraordinary evidence. Can I use it in divorce proceedings?" "Absolutely. Oregon is a no-fault divorce state, so technically we don't need to prove fault. But having this level of documented infidelity will significantly impact negotiations, especially regarding spousal support. A judge will not look favorably on a spouse who systematically cheated while documenting it like a hobby. What about the fact that she makes more money than me? In Oregon, spousal support is based on need and ability to pay. Normally, her higher income might mean you could request support from her, but her documented infidelity changes the calculation. A judge has discretion, and this level of betrayal will influence that discretion in your favor. So what do? We file for divorce citing irreconcilable differences. We include the diary evidence in discovery. We make it very clear that if your wife wants to avoid a public trial where all of this becomes court record, she'll agree to favorable terms for you. What kind of terms? Clean split of assets. No spousal support in either direction. She keeps her retirement and income, you keep yours. You walk away without owing her anything despite her higher salary. That's the goal. That sounds fair. More than fair to you, given Oregon's usual calculations. But she won't want this diary public. The leverage is significant. I hired Robert that afternoon. He had me sign retainer paperwork and said he'd begin preparing the divorce petition immediately. One more thing, Robert said. Don't tell your wife you know about the affairs. Don't confront her. Act normal until she's served with papers. The element of surprise works in your favor. If she knows you know, she might destroy the diary or claim you fabricated the photos. The diary is still hidden in her office. Should I take it? No, leave it there. We have the photographs. That's enough. If she realizes it's missing, she might get suspicious. Let her feel secure. Then we hit her with everything at once. For the next week, I acted like nothing had changed. Came home, made dinner, graded papers, slept in the same bed as Lauren while she ignored me. It was surreal knowing what I knew, having initiated divorce proceedings, while she remained completely oblivious. She even went on another business trip that week. For days in Seattle, came home Friday evening and barely spoke to me beyond, "I'm exhausted, leaving my suitcase for you to unpack." Like I was her servant, her boring, 5/10 overall, sexually for tense husband whose purpose was to provide stability, while she fucked more exciting men. Not anymore. The following Wednesday, 2 weeks after finding the diary, Albert called me. Papers are ready. Process server will deliver them to your wife at her workplace tomorrow morning. Be prepared for her reaction. Should I not be home? That's up to you. But she will likely call, text, or come home early. She'll be shocked and angry. Don't engage in arguments. Don't answer questions about your evidence. Just stay calm and refer her to me. Thursday morning, I went to work as usual. Around 10:30 a.m., I got a text from Robert. Papers delivered. She's been served. And my phone started ringing at 10:47 a.m. Lauren, I didn't answer another call at 10:52. Another. At 11:05, text messages started flooding in. What the fuck, Dan, you filed for divorce. Call me right now, we need to talk about this. You can't just file for divorce without talking to me first. Call me. I forwarded all the messages to Robert and turned my phone to silent. Finished my teaching day. By the time school ended at 3 p.m., I had 23 missed calls from Lauren and 47 text messages ranging from angry to confused to pleading. I drove to my friend Marcus's house, not my home. Marcus had been my college roommate, was still a close friend, and I'd told him everything about finding the diary. She's going to lose it when she realizes why you're divorcing her, Marcus said, handing me a beer. She already knows. The petition cites irreconcilable differences, but Robert attached a summary of the evidence, basically told her, we have proof of her affairs. And if she wants to avoid it becoming public record, she'll negotiate. What do you think she'll do? Deny it. Claim I fabricated the evidence. Try to make me seem crazy. The usual playbook for cheaters who get caught. My phone rang again. Lauren, for the 24th time. This time I answered, where the hell are you? She screamed immediately. At a friend's house. What do you need? What do I need? You filed for divorce? Without even talking to me? What is wrong with you? I found your diary, Lauren. Silence. Complete silence. I could almost hear her brain processing what I'd just said. What diary? Her voice had changed. Quieter. Careful. The leather-bound journal hidden behind your marketing books. The one where you documented all your affairs. 8 men. Detailed descriptions. Ratings. The one where you ranked me number 7 out of 8 and called me boring with a 4/10 sexual rating. More silence. Then you went through my private things. Classic deflection. Turn the victim into the villain. You had an affair diary documenting 7 years of cheating, multiple affairs. You rated each man. You wrote that I'm your safety net while you look for better options. And your concern is that I found your private journal? Dan, I can explain. No need. I've photographed my attorney has copies. It's all documented. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to agree to a clean divorce. No spousal support, either direction. Fair split of assets. Quick, quiet, done. Or we go to trial and your affair diary becomes public court record. You wouldn't try me. I've been your boring, predictable, 5/10 overall husband for 7 years. Guess what? You were wrong about me being predictable. I filed for divorce 2 weeks after finding your diary, and you never saw it coming. I documented everything. I secured legal representation, and now I'm offering you a choice. Agree to fair terms, or watch your professional reputation explode when your coworkers find out you've been keeping an affair diary with ratings. My coworkers wouldn't court documents or public record, Lauren. If we go to trial, anyone can access them, including people at your company, including industry contacts, including everyone you've been trying to impress with your successful VP image. How do you think they'll react to finding out you've been keeping a journal rating your affair partners like a Yelp review? Her breathing was ragged on the other end. I need time to process this. You have until Friday to agree to mediation. If you don't, we proceed to contested divorce and everything becomes public. Your choice. I hung up. Marcus stared at me. Dude, that was ice cold. She called me boring and predictable. Thought I'd never leave because I'm too nice and stable. She needed to learn exactly how wrong she was. Lauren tried calling 17 more times that evening. I didn't answer. She showed up at Marcus's house around 9 p.m. Marcus answered the door. He doesn't want to talk to you, Marcus said firmly. I need to explain. He doesn't understand. He understands perfectly. You cheated on him repeatedly for 7 years and documented it in a diary, where you rated him as boring and sexually inadequate. There's nothing to explain. Leave. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him it was a mistake. 8 affairs over 7 years isn't a mistake. It's a pattern. Leave now, or I'm calling the police for trespassing. She left. Sent more texts. Please, Dan, we can work through this. I know I messed up, but we have 7 years together. Don't throw away our marriage over this. I'll delete the diary. I'll never cheat again. I promise. Please just talk to me, I responded once. Talk to my attorney. His number is on the divorce papers. Friday morning, Robert called. Lauren's attorney reached out. She wants to negotiate. Already, she hired someone that fast? She's terrified of the diary becoming public? Her attorney indicated she's willing to agree to almost any reasonable terms to keep this quiet. What are they proposing? Clean split of all marital assets. No spousal support either direction. You keep your retirement accounts. She keeps hers. Joint property gets divided equitably. She wants one condition. The diary evidence remains sealed and not filed as public record. So she wants to avoid public humiliation. Exactly. My recommendation. Agree to it. You're getting everything you want. Clean divorce, no financial obligations despite her higher income, quick resolution, and keeping the diary sealed protects. You don't need your personal life becoming public fodder. Agreed, let's do it. The mediation was scheduled for the following week. Lauren and I sat across a conference table with our respective attorneys, a mediator between us. Lauren looked terrible. Hair not styled perfectly like usual. Makeup minimal. Dark circles under her eyes. She wouldn't make eye contact with me. The mediator walked through the terms. Division of assets. No spousal support, both parties keeping their own retirement accounts and incomes going forward. The diary evidence would remain sealed, not entered into public record. Mr. Hayes, do you agree to these terms? The mediator asked. Yes. Miss Chen, do you agree? Yes. Her voice was barely a whisper. Then we have an agreement. I'll draft the settlement documents for both parties to sign. It was over in 90 minutes. 7 years of marriage dissolved in a conference room with clinical efficiency. As we were leaving, Lauren grabbed my arm. Dan, please, can we at least talk? I looked at her hand on my arm, then at her face. What could you possibly say that would matter? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I never wanted to lose you. You didn't want to lose your safety net. That's what you called me in your diary. Your boring but stable safety net. Well, congratulations. You lost me. I hope whoever you rated as number 1 is still available, because that's your only option now. Those ratings didn't mean they meant exactly what they said. You spent 7 years of our marriage fucking other men and rating them. You wrote that you'd never leave me because I provided stability while you looked for excitement elsewhere. You documented everything like it was a hobby. And now you're sorry because you got caught and there are consequences. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I have the receipts. Literally. 200 pages of your handwritten documentation proving exactly what you thought of me in our marriage. So no, we can't talk. We're done. Sign the papers and move on with your life. I'm moving on with mine. I walked away. Didn't look back. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. Lauren signed everything without contest. I moved out of our shared apartment into a smaller place closer to school. Started fresh. Within days of the divorce becoming final, something happened that I didn't expect but probably should have. The affair diary leaked. I don't know how. Robert swore he didn't release it. I didn't release it, but somehow, someone got hold of information about its contents. Maybe someone at the mediation. Maybe Lauren's attorney's office had a leak. Maybe Marcus told someone who told someone. However it happened, within 2 weeks of our divorce finalizing, word spread through Lauren's professional network that she'd kept a detailed affair diary rating her lovers. Not the full diary, thank God, but enough information that people knew what she'd done. Her company found out, and that's when things really fell apart for Lauren. Marcus called me one evening, about a month after the divorce. Dude, you need to see this. Sent me a screenshot of a LinkedIn post from someone at Lauren's company. Disappointed to hear about the recent behavior of someone in our leadership team. When you're in a position of authority, you're held to higher standards of ethics and judgment. Looking forward to seeing how our company handles this situation. Is that about Lauren? One asked Marcus. Yeah, Apparently word got around her office about the diary. People are pissed. She's been known as this ambitious, successful, professional woman. Finding out she's been documenting affairs like a hobby, it's destroyed her image. 2 days later, Lauren was asked to resign from her VP position. To someone Marcus knew who worked there, the company gave her a choice: resign quietly with a severance package, or be terminated for conduct unbecoming of a company officer. She resigned. Her LinkedIn profile changed from VP of Marketing at tech company to simply marketing professionals seeking new opportunities. But new opportunities weren't forthcoming. The tech industry in Portland is small. Word travels. The affair diary story had spread enough that when Lauren interviewed places, they'd heard whispers. And companies don't want the liability of hiring someone with that kind of reputation. 6 months after our divorce, I heard through Marcus that Lauren had taken a job as a marketing manager 2 levels below where she'd been at a smaller company for $65,000, a $30,000 pay cut from her VP salary. The career she'd built while sacrificing our marriage. The ambition that had driven her to dismiss my teaching career as inadequate. The success that had made her feel like she'd outgrown my all damaged because of an affair diary that became semi-public. Meanwhile, my life was improving dramatically, without the stress of Lauren's coldness and dismissiveness. I was happier than I'd been in years. I threw myself into teaching with renewed energy. Started a history club at school. Developed new curriculum. Got nominated for a Teacher Excellence Award. I also started dating. Nothing serious initially, just getting back out there. Went on coffee dates with a few women I met through friends or apps. Remembered what it felt like to be with someone who actually showed interest in my life. Then I met Sarah at a teacher's conference 8 months after the divorce. She taught English at a different high school in Portland. Smart, funny, passionate about education. We connected immediately over shared frustrations and joys of teaching. What do you do when kids say they hate reading? She asked during a workshop break. Tell them they haven't found the right book yet. Then I recommend graphic novels or historical fiction that might hook them. Usually works. That's brilliant. I do something similar with historical context. Show them why the books matter beyond just the plot. We exchanged numbers. Started texting daily. Met for dinner the following weekend. On our 3rd date, I told her about Lauren, about the affair diary, about being rated number 7 out of 8, about the divorce. Sarah's reaction was perfect. She rated you like you were a product to review. That's sociopathic. It felt that way. 7 years thinking we had a marriage, finding out I was her safety net while she shopped for upgrades. Well, her loss is my gain. You're smart, kind, passionate about what you do, and actually present in conversations, which is rare. Anyone who'd rate you a 5 out of 10 has terrible judgment. We started dating seriously. Sarah never once made me feel inadequate about being a teacher. Never compared my salary to anyone else's. Never called me boring or unambitious. She valued education, valued partnership, valued me. 1 year after my divorce, Sarah and I moved in together. 2 years after I proposed, she said yes immediately. You know what makes this perfect? Sarah said after I proposed. No affair diary will ever document me rating you. Because you're not a product to be reviewed. You're a person I love. That's all that matters. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. My best man was Marcus, who'd supported me through the divorce. Sarah's maid of honor was her sister. No $50,000 budget, no design or anything. It's 2 teachers who loved each other, making a commitment based on actual partnership. Through Marcus, I heard occasional updates about Lauren. 3 years after our divorce, she was still working at that smaller company, still making significantly less than she had as VP, still single. She asks about you sometimes, Marcus reported. Wants to know if you're happy. What do you tell her? That you're married to a wonderful woman, teaching successfully, living your best life? She usually looks sad when I tell her. For years after the divorce, Lauren apparently tried to reach out. Sent me an email, Dan. I know I have no right to contact you. I know what I did was unforgivable. Yeah, but I need you to know that losing you was the worst mistake of my life. The affair diary that was me at my absolute worst. Documenting the worst parts of myself. Treating you like you didn't matter when you were the best thing I had. You weren't boring. You were stable and present and actually committed. You weren't sexually inadequate. I was. I was so focused on what I could get from others that I'd never appreciated what I had with you. My career has never recovered from the fallout. My reputation in the industry is permanently damaged. But honestly, losing my career wasn't the real punishment. Losing you was. I see what you have now, married to someone who values you. Happy in your teaching, living the life you always wanted, and I'm alone. Still, making less money than I did 7 years ago. Dating men who leave when they find out about my past. You were everything I needed, but I was too stupid and selfish to see it. I spent 7 years taking you for granted and it cost me everything. I don't expect you to respond. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Just needed you to know that you weren't the problem. I was. I'll regret what I did to you for the rest of my life. Laura and I showed the email to Sarah. Should I respond? Do you want to? Not really. Part of me feels bad for her, but another part remembers being number 7 out of 8. Remembers being called boring with a 4/10 sexual rating. Remembers that she planned to stay married to me as her safety net, while continuing to cheat indefinitely. Then don't respond. She's asking for absolution you're not obligated to provide. She made her choices. She documented them in detail. Now she's living with consequences. I didn't respond. Deleted the email. Moved on. 5 years after the divorce. I'm 39. Married to Sarah for 3 years. We have a 1-year-old daughter named Emma. I'm now a department head at my school, making $74,000. Not impressive by corporate standards, but excellent for teaching. Sarah and I have a life built on mutual respect, actual partnership, and genuine affection. Lauren, according to Marcus's last update, is 37 and still single. Still working in marketing at mid-tier companies. Still dealing with professional reputation damage from the affair diary fallout. Still apparently regretting the choices she made during our marriage. Because here's the truth Lauren learned too late. People aren't commodities to be rated. Marriages aren't safety nets to maintain while shopping for better options. And the boring partner you dismiss might be the one you lose forever. Lauren thought she'd outgrown me. Thought my teaching career was inadequate compared to her corporate success. Thought she could keep me as her stable backup while seeking excitement elsewhere. Thought documenting her affairs like a hobby wouldn't have consequences. She was wrong about all of it. 7 years of marriage destroyed by a leather-bound journal where she rated 8 men, including her husband. The number 1 guy she'd rated highest, married with kids, never left his wife. The top 5 men she'd ranked above me, all moved on to other relationships, none interested in a woman with Lauren's reputation. And Mitha number 7, boring, sexually inadequate, would never leave him safety net. I left completely, without hesitation, and built a life with someone who actually values me, instead of tolerating me while looking for upgrades. Today, if Lauren made a new journal entry about how her life turned out, the ratings would be brutal. Career, 3/10 damaged reputation, significant demotion, limited prospects relationships, 1/10 alone. Unable to find lasting partnership, haunted by past happiness. 2/10 constant regret, professional setbacks, personal isolation overall. 2/10 lost the career she sacrificed everything for. Lost the husband who actually valued her. Lost the life she could have had meanwhile. The boring teacher she'd rated. 5/10 overall, and planned to keep as her safety net, living his best life. Happily married, thriving career, beautiful daughter. No regrets. Sometimes the person you underestimate becomes the one who got away. And sometimes getting caught keeping an affair diary, where you rated your lovers, destroys everything you thought you'd built. Lauren wanted excitement instead of stability. She got neither. Because when you treat people like commodities to be rated and replaced, eventually you end up with nothing but a leather-bound journal full of documented mistakes. 7 years later, I'm grateful for that journal. Not because of what it revealed about Lauren, but because of what it revealed about me. I was worth more than being someone's. #7. Worth more than a 4/10 sexual rating from someone who never appreciated what she had. Worth more than being a safety net for someone shopping for upgrades. Lauren thought I'd never leave because I was too boring and predictable. She was right that I'm predictable, predictably unwilling to tolerate disrespect, and boring, only to someone incapable of appreciating depth over excitement. The affair diary cost Lauren everything. But it gave me something valuable, the truth. And truth, no matter how painful, is always better than living a lie.